So Boise State comes in 20-4, 10-2 in conference play. Utah State at 13-12, 500 in conference play, despite battling a myriad of injuries this year and some illnesses. We'll explore that a little bit more as the evening unfolds. Let's take a look at the visiting Broncos. They took a bus down from Boise. It's about a 4-hour ride. Lexus Williams, a senior transfer. He's a terrific point guard. Justinian Jessup, just a sophomore. He can shoot the three. Everybody knows about Chandler Hutchison. Chris Sangfelder and Zach Haney at 6'11" round out the starting five for Boise State. And Utah State will align this way. There's the backcourt of McEwen and Merrill. Diago Brito is the third guard, if you will. Dwayne Brown Jr. didn't play the other day. He had the flu bug, and we know how the flu's really ravaged a lot of communities around the country. At 104 fever a few days ago, so he's not 100%. Quinn Taylor didn't play the other day. He had a heart arrhythmia. They got that straightened out, but it's been that kind of year for Tim Duryea. He's lost a couple of players already to injuries for the entire season, and he has a bunch of guys that are gimpy. Some don't even practice during the week. They just suit up for the game. We're underway. In blue are the Boise State Broncos. This is Lexus Williams trying to find help.
Great backcourt play for both these teams. These should be some great matchups, guard to guard.
Shot clock already down to 6. Here's Hutchison. He drives and he throws up a one-handed runner. It's kind of nice when you have that guy who can bail you out when there's 2 on the shot clock.
It's amazing. The Aggies played great half-court defense. That's really the only shot Boise State could get off, and the 6'7" preseason Player of the Year throws in about a 12-foot running hook shot.
He may be the postseason Player of the Year also. He's averaging 20 a game and almost 8 rebounds. And this is taken away by Justinian Jessup from Merrill. Here's Hutchison under control, and he misses the runner that time. Here's Brito with the basketball. McEwen, he has the ability to drive, looking for a foul, count the basket. Kobe McEwen.
Now, of the 2 backcourt guards for the Aggies, this is the guy who can create shots much like we saw Hutchison doing. He can get it through a crack in the door and make acrobatic plays. Sam Merrill, more of a guy with a feel for the game and lets the game come to him. Kobe McEwen will take advantage of you if you're not careful.
McEwen unable to connect on the free throw. 2-2 affair, and that'll stay with Boise State. The head coach for Boise State is Leon Rice. He is in his 8th year, and with their victory, their come-from-behind victory a couple of nights ago against New Mexico, they have now won 20 or more 6 consecutive seasons under Coach Rice. Now think about this. When Boise State went Division I many moons ago, before Leon took over, they had 7 20-win seasons.
Oh, he's done an unbelievable job there. The 2004 14-15 Coach of the Year, 6 straight 20-win seasons. It's tough to string together 6 straight winning seasons, let alone 20-win seasons.
Yeah, and I would think they're going to be, before they're done, well above 25 wins this year. Here's McEwen. Actually, let me check that on that drive. That was Dwayne Brown Jr. He got close, and it rimmed out, and then we have a loose ball foul. And it is on Dwayne Brown.
The Aggies, as you mentioned, 2 starters with Brown and Quinn Taylor couldn't even play against the against Wyoming last Wednesday night.
And they ended up losing 83-65. Jessup, that was interesting. He had a nice crossover, Coach. Looked like he'd get all the way to the bucket, and he decided to kick it.
Well, they have great ball movement, Boise State I'm talking about. Sometimes I think they almost get a little bit too unselfish. Like you say, Jessup then had a wide open lane to the basket and tried to kick it out to Hutchison for the 3 out of the corner. They have great team chemistry, both on and off the court. Leon Rice said this is the most together group that he's coached in the 8 years he's been at Boise State. State.
And that's saying something, because you brought in 2 new players in the guy who just made that tough shot, Lexus Williams, and the guy we talked about a moment ago in the open, Chris Sangfelder.
No question. You could cause a lot of animosity and a lot of ill will bringing in 2 guys with 1 year left to kind of play in front of guys who've been sitting there waiting. Leon Rice does a great job of that. Great job of handling his players.
Little baby pull-up. Sangfelder gets the rebound, and he gets it knocked away by Quinn Taylor. Here's Brito. They closed out nicely on Merrill, and that was a great decision by Sam Merrill, wasn't it?
Well, as I said, Sam Merrill's one of those guys who doesn't flash by you like McEwen or burn by you. He just kind of takes advantage of what's there and looks like he walks by you. He has got a great feel and great size at 6'5", about 220.
They swing it to Williams on the weak side. Sangfelder has an inside-outside game. Great three-point shooter. Nothing there on the post-up. Chandler Hutchinson a 3-ball. And that'll be run down by Merrill.
Great rotation there. You can see the Aggies are going to come double team the low block catch by Sangfelder. They rotated out of that, and Hutchinson got a contested 3, but good rotation, good half-court defense by the Aggies there.
A couple of changes. The Aggies will bring in Deron Henson, a 6'7" redshirt freshman, number 23. And Boise State bring in David Wacker.
Henson got his first start against Wyoming in Dwayne Brown's absence, when Brown had not been sick up until the morning of the game and woke up with a 104-degree temperature. And Darren Henson, who they think is going to be an outstanding player here from the Los Angeles area, got his first career start.
Brito looks over at his head coach, Tim Duryea, for a play. 15 on the shot clock. McEwen checked by Williams, gets the ball screen.
I talked about the Aggies' great half-court execution, defense, and rotation. That time the Broncos did exactly that.
Williams, who doesn't look to shoot that frequently, has taken 3 shots early. He's hit 2 of them.
They are very, very good in transition. And the Boise State 2 guards, Jessup and Williams, are both shooting 45% from 3. So your transition defense has to be spot on when you're playing the Broncos.
Well, you have 2 schools that love to shoot the 3 and do it very well. That 3-pointer by Henson out of the corner was short.
Henson, even though he's 6'7", would rather shoot it from 3 than drive it. About 2/3 of his shots so far in his young career are all from the 3-point line.
Alec Tobbs as the basketball, swings it in the corner to Sangfelder, and boy, he is a stone-cold shooter.
He has great footwork. Watch when he catches the ball. He has those feet set, his backside down. He catches it in rhythms right into his shot. A really quick and efficient release.
Broncos up 10-4, missed shot. Here comes Hutchinson leading the 3-on-3. All the way to the glass and in. 12-4 start for the Broncos on the road.
And that's where Hutchinson is at his best. At 6'7" with long, long arms, he is terrific in transition.
Timeout on the floor. Sangfelder banks a 3 out of the corner. And then you had a transition hoop from Hutchinson. 12-4 Boise State. Boise State on an 8-0 run as Leon Rice counsels his team. The keys to tonight's game are brought to you by Toyota. Coach Cravens, what do you have?
For the Broncos, the biggest game of their season coming up next Wednesday with their showdown with Nevada. They can't look ahead, and they have got to guard the three-point line with Utah State's terrific guards, which they've done 0 for 3 so far for Utah State. For the Aggies, they've got to limit second chance points. The Broncos coming off 14 offensive rebounds against New Mexico, and they have got to do everything they can to not get beat by one guy, Hutchinson. And if they could hold him under 20, that may be easier said than done, Drew, but that would enhance their chances a great deal.
You know, there's 2 ways of looking at that. When you have a great score, that's a backcourt violation. And pointing to himself That's not how you want to come out of a timeout. That's Deron Henson saying, hey, my bad.
Like he didn't know that Coach Duryea didn't know that that was his bad.
Yeah.
Or everyone else in the arena right now. No, you're exactly right. That's not the way you want to come out of a timeout, by in your possession turning around and giving it right back to the Broncos.
Again, the primary pass could have gone to the backcourt, but it was the second pass.
Right. You know what Al McGuire used to say about freshmen is the best thing about them is that one day they'll be sophomores.
I think every coach in America said that at some point, right?
At some point.
And trying to make up for it was Henson. He missed from three-point range.
Maybe a little quick there. I don't know if the Aggies want to make this just a strictly a racehorse type game.
Merrill just stole that pass right out of the hand. And then the reach in. No foul called on Marcus Dickinson. Must have got all basketball.
Now Boise State has gone with their two-point guard lineup. They have great depth, and I love this lineup where they play Lexus Williams and Marcus Dickinson together. What a luxury. Almost more than having three post guys, which they do, is having two quality point guards that you can play one at a time or together, like Leon Rice is doing right now. Utah State hasn't scored in over 3 minutes.
Here's Isby on the floor for the first time, D'Angelo. McEwen out of the corner, knocks down a three. Good spacing there allowed McEwen to come free.
Very good spacing and great alert pass by Dargington, a kid who has, almost like everyone on this roster, been riddled with injuries this year.
Yeah, number 11, Alex Dargington, playing on gimpy ankles. And that will stay home for Hobbs.
Hobbs, a kid that has played in every game with 8 starts, actually started ahead of Justinian Jessup for a couple games when Jessup was really struggling with his shot, the leading scorer off the bench for the Broncos.
McEwen able to save it. Tell you what, watching Isby jump for that ball and seeing the sleeve on his right leg, I don't think he's 100%. McEwen again. Here come the Aggies.
Back-to-back threes for McEwen. Not shooting a great percentage, 34% for the season. He hasn't shot it well in conference season, but he is capable of having huge nights.
Lexus Williams. And Dargington pulls down the rebound off to Sam Merrill. McEwen, he wants a heat check, in and out.
Well, McEwen, we haven't mentioned, is actually the reigning player of the week in the Mountain West Conference. Last weekend, he had 31 and 13 rebounds against University of New Mexico here on their home court.
And Coach, he added 6 dimes that night also.
No, that's what I love about this backcourt of he and Merrill. They do so many things. They're just not scorers or shooters. They can handle it. They rebound it. McEwen's averaging 7 rebounds in conference play.
Hobbs had that shot affected. Wacker had it ripped down low by McEwen. Speaking of doing a lot of things. And unfortunately for Utah State, D'Angelo Isby had the heel of a sneaker out of bounds. That'll work as a turnover. And we're at our under 12 timeout. 11:55 to be precise left in the first half. 14-10 Boise State. Mountain West basketball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Dodge Ram. Guts, glory, Ram. And by Steel. Find your Steel dealer at SteelDealers.com. Well, at the last timeout, we were talking about a Boise State 8-0 run. Utah State has a little 6-0 run going because of the shooting ability of Kobe McEwen.
Well, great job by his teammates finding Kobe McEwen. 3 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 4 from the three-point line for 8 points. And he leads all scorers in the game. Extremely explosive. And then you pair him with his running mate, Sam Merrill. You have the highest scoring backcourt in the Mountain West Conference.
He was a great get for Tim Duryea a couple of years ago. He was at Wasatch Academy here in Utah going to prep school, but he's from Toronto, Canada. He was a top 100 kid national.
Well, he was supposed to go, everyone thought, to Wake Forest. He had a great visit there and came up here and said, you know what, I like the campus, the people. I'm going to not go to the ACC in Wake Forest and come be an Aggie.
Chandler Hutchinson with the left-handed hook. He's got a half dozen. Merrill had the shot blocked out of bounds. It will stay with Utah State. 16-10 Boise State. And Boise State got a scare from New Mexico in their last outing. They were down the entire game. And at one point they were down 13. They scored the last 8 points to pull out the victory.
Down 6 with 1:46 to go. And ended up winning by 2. As you said, scored the last 8 points of the game. This kid Leon Rice, I sent him a text and I said, I think you're using voodoo right now. They win that one, then the game before that they win in overtime against UNLV. And I talked to Leon before the game and I said, you know, your team thinks they ought to win every close game so far. And they have. They've had, I think, 7 games decided by 6 or less, and they've won 6 of those.
And he kept that alive. Jessup from 20 feet, a little bit short, and a loose ball foul, and that's going to go on McEwen. You know, to your point, both of those victories were by 2 points, but good teams. And Leon, it's not just this year, Leon Rice has created a culture of winning. And instead of hoping to win the close games, they expect to win. We were chatting about that earlier tonight with Coach Rice.
Well, 6 20-win seasons in a row, and you talk about creating a culture, and they've beaten these Aggies 6 straight times, all of them close games, but yet 6 straight times.
Jessup couldn't get that one to fall. Here's McEwen.
USU on another scoring drought, now 2.5 minutes without scoring, and they're getting beat up really bad on the glass, Drew. Utah State's the only team to out-rebound Boise State in league play this year.
It's McEwen again. He's got 11. 3 triples already for McEwen.
And McEwen is now on Hutchinson, and he is in a straight face guard mode. He doesn't care where that ball's at.
That's a great call. That is a foul on Chandler Hutchinson. He was getting frustrated by the defense being played, and he gave a 2-handed shove. You're going to see it right here on McEwen.
McEwen just turns his back on what's happening on the rest of the court and just face guarding the guy who's probably going to be the player of the year, and really kind of got into his head a little bit. McEwen now in double figures for the 15th time this season.
A number of NBA scouts are here, and that is pretty typical when Boise State is playing with Chandler Hutchinson, who pulls down the miss there from Dwayne Brown Jr. Here's Hutchinson driving, kissing it off the glass. Well done. 8 points for Hutchinson, the senior from Mission Viejo, California.
The thing about Chandler Hutchinson trying to guard him in the open court, Drew, he has a great hesitation move, and he has a great crossover, and he explodes out of each of those.
Brito at 3, give the assist to Sam Merrill.
And remember, one of the keys for Boise State was to guard the three-point line. That's the Aggies, who don't have a lot of interior scoring, but they can beat you from that great equalizer at the three-point line. The Aggies are playing with great energy at the defensive end. Both teams have played straight man-to-man.
Taylor giving away some size and weight to Haney, and Haney drops in a baby hook. 2016 for the Broncos.
Excuse me, Drew. Haney's had a very solid year. He started every game for the Broncos this year.
That'll send Brito to the line, and that's 2 on Hutchison. We'll see how Leon Rice plays this with 8:32 left. Does Hutchison come out for the remainder of the half? That is a big foul.
I think with the lead, you take him out. 8 minutes left, they're up 4 points. I think you got to play it safe and take him out. Now they'll play with a little bit smaller lineup with the 2 point guards together, and they'll move Justinian Jessup to the 3. Now Justinian Jessup is their starting 2 guard, but he's 6'6", Drew, and you know he can very easily play that 3 with those long arms.
Another free throw coming for Brito, a native of Portugal.
Brito not only plays on the Portuguese national team, he's a leading scorer on the Portuguese national team when they play in the summertime.
And that's a foul on Merrill.
Foul is on Sam Merrill. His first third game.
Well, the officials being very consistent. You saw the same call on Chandler Hutchison down to the other end and Sam Merrill there. I struggle a little bit, the old coach in me. How are you supposed to guard the ball? You can't guard the ball when a guy puts his head down and drives it without there being some contact. But the officials have been very consistent with that here in the first 12 minutes.
Sloppy turnover for Boise State, trying to get it inbounds. So remember, at about the 8.5-minute mark, Hutchison went out. Sangfelder replaced him. Boise State was up 20-17 at the time.
The Aggies need to make a little hay while the sun's out here, while Hutchison's out, and make a little run here, down 3 points.
Abel Porter, number 30 in the game for Utah State.
Abel Porter is one of the 3 guards on the Aggie roster that all played here in the state of Utah.
Quinn Taylor missed from point-blank range twice.
Well, that's tough. That's tough when you're down 3 and you get 1 point blank that way. That makes a young coach be old really quick.
Porter thought he was fouled. No call. Here's Sangfelder. Williams. This is as aggressive as I've seen Williams offensively. Usually he's just a distributor.
I think you're right. I've not seen him put his head down and get it to the basket as aggressively as you have just described. Boise State now in a 2-3 zone with Hutchison on the bench.
Merrill, quick release. Merrill's yet to hit a 3, averages more than 3 a game, and he's a 44% three-point shooter on the season. How about 52% in conference play? I think Brown, is he bleeding? I think that's why we have a stoppage. We'll step aside. This was Tuesday night down at the pit, and late in the game, Boise State came from behind, and then Joe Furstinger came running in and knocked Marcus Dickinson to the ground. He was attempting to foul, but that obviously was flagrant. He was suspended for today's game against Air Force. Air Force won that game at the Academy 100-92, and Furstinger issued an apology today. He said, I want to apologize to the entire Lobo community, everyone at Boise State, and also Marcus Dickinson for my actions this past week. It was a split-second decision I wanted to take back as soon as I did it. I embarrassed myself, my family, and my team. And you know what? That's athletics sometimes. Joe Furstinger's a good kid. He's apologized. He served his suspension. I'm sure Marcus Dickinson will accept it and move on. A frustrating loss for New Mexico. No place for what he did, clearly, though.
No, Joe Furstinger plays with a bunch of emotion. You know, he's one of my favorite guys in the league because he sat on the bench for 3 years and making the most of his senior year, and it looks like that emotion just got the best of him in that incident.
That was good execution on the low block as Sangfelder lays it in.
That was a cross screen for Sangfelder to get a low block catch, and poor defense on the Aggie defender's part by giving him an open lane to the basket. Sangfelder very polished in the low block. He's a good three-point shooter, but he knows how to play off that low block, and you just saw it.
Boise State just flashed a 2-3 zone at Utah State. They did not handle it. A turnover, and now the Broncos will move up the floor up by 5.
Well, the Aggies have about 3 just totally unforced turnovers in this half. They have 5 total, but 3 of them are those type of turnovers that just make the coach go nutty because, again, they're unforced. You just turn and throw it out of bounds.
So Utah State, by game plan, anytime the ball goes low, they're running 2 players at the low block, and the man who came free is hard to miss, 33, David Wacker. He's 6'10", 240. 7-point lead now for the Broncos.
USU on another scoring drought, a little bit over 2 minutes.
And that's a bad pass there.
Back-to-back turnover.
Dickinson looking for a foul call. McEwen tried to draw the charge. Brito, quick release out of the corner. One shot now. Boise State does so many things well, and near the top of the list is rebounding.
Well, they lead the league in rebound differential, meaning they're the best rebounding team in the league.
Julian Perry, the rip, and he goes the distance. The senior has battled so many injuries this year. He's finally healthy, makes a nice play.
Well, he's a guy I really have to tip my hat to as well. He started 24 games as a freshman. Then he hadn't started the last 3 years, some of it due to injury, some of it due to these great Utah State guards that's coming in. He could have hung his head, maybe left. He's hung in there and will get his degree, and he's been a great teammate.
Yeah, it's not easy sometimes, especially when you get action early.
24 starts as a freshman. You're expecting to have a great career from there, and it's kind of went the other way on him. But again, he's been a great teammate. He's played through some hard times, and I'm real proud to see a kid do something like that.
Absolutely. The turnaround jumper by Henson is missed. And we have a whistle. It's going to go on Boise State. It's going to be on Sangfelder.
There's Julian Perry with quick hands there. Missed the first 8 games of the season with a ankle leg injury.
And you can tell he's not as explosive as he was.
Not at all, not at all. As a freshman, he wasn't a great scorer, even though he started all those games, but he was a defensive stopper as a freshman, and a great fit to a club that won 18 games there. And he looked like a kid that was going to, have a great career, and he has had a great career. He stayed, played through the hard times. He's getting his degree. That's a great career.
Absolutely. Here's McEwen up top. Broncos' big lead's been 8. Merrill lost the basketball. Another turnover for Utah State. Hobbs drives, and somehow he just flipped it up from his hip and it went in.
Well, there's the kid that is, as I said earlier, their leading scorer off the bench. He's a kid at LaPorte High School in Texas, scored 2,800 points in his career, averaged 30 the senior year. So obviously the kid knows how to make it go through the hoop.
Going through the hoop there from distance, Dwayne Brown. His 24th triple of the year. 3:35 to go first half. That 3 cuts it to a 4-point game. Hobbs trying to get past Merrill. Good defense by Merrill.
Really good lateral movement by Merrill.
There's Sangfelder. He's fouled. Physical play inside. But the inside play has been dominated by Boise State. And they are up by 4.
I'm like a stretch 4. I can tell it inside, little outside. I can shoot it. And I'm like an F4 type of guy. Like I give 110%. I leave it all out there. That's like I would say I do. I play the piano. So that's I guess my hidden talent. I mean I used to ballroom dance. So yeah. I used to do that back in the days and it was just a lot of fun.
Think about this, Joe. Who knew that he and I had so much in common? He's a stretch 4, I'm a stretch 1, and we both have ballroom dancing in our background.
Well, you're much more versatile than that. Tap dancing, table dancing, maybe a little pole dancing at times.
All right, we move on to a different topic as that free throw is dropped in. 27-22, Sangfelder, the ballroom dancer. Also a pretty good basketball player.
It's amazing to see a kid like Sangfelder, and you don't even give it a second thought of an international player. Back 25 years ago, when Detlef Schrempf and Chris Velp came to the University of Washington, they were a couple of the early Germans, early international players. They were quite an oddity. Now it's an oddity if you don't have an international player.
You know what? I was going to say that, Coach. If you don't have one, you're in the minority.
No question.
Quinn Taylor had the rebound for a moment, and then it went out of bounds off of the guy who originally shot it, and that is Deron Henson.
I'll tell you, the Aggies have not done a very good job attacking this 2-3 zone. Some of it is impatience. Some of it is missing a couple shots right at the basket. But Boise State has been in this ever since Chandler Hutchison went out and not only maintained the lead, but also increased their lead.
Haney loses the basketball against a zone thrown out there by Utah State.
Leon Rice used to not play any zone at all. This is the first year in a while I've seen him play zone. He just says it matches his personnel a little bit.
Boy, there have to be 3 or 4 passes by Utah State
to nobody.
Literally.
Yeah, and it's just killing them. 8 turnovers now. Well, did they reverse that?
They did. It must have hit the sneaker, I'm guessing, of a Boise State player.
Yeah, just got a little bit of a break now. Boise State now on that end out of bounds is going man-to-man as opposed to their zone defense.
Good defense on Merrill by Dickinson. And coming free is Taylor. Good recognition by McEwen.
Great pass by McEwen. As I said before, he and Merrill not only shoot it in and score, they are terrific passers. They're 1 and 2 on their team in passing.
Taylor, I'm sorry, I was going to say, according to Coach Duryea, he's very adept at slipping screens. And there's an art to doing that.
No, timing, you have to have a feel for the game. That was great execution by the Aggies. And remember, Boise State rotated into their man-to-man because of that end out of bounds play. They'd been playing zone, so the Aggies attacked that with that high ball screen as opposed to having to attack that zone and got an easy basket.
Kobe McEwen picked up the foul. That's 2 on McEwen. As Haney missed the front end free throw. He's just a 47% free throw shooter.
The Aggies with not near the luxury of having a deep and long bench as Boise State does. Coach Duryea electing to let McEwen play this last 2 minutes with 2 fouls.
Yeah. In a perfect world, he really has to play Merrill and McEwen about 38 minutes a night.
No question. Boise State then in a little 3/4 court trap back to their 2-3 zone. The Aggies are playing a lot of what I call east and west and not enough north and south. They've got to penetrate that zone, or they just throw it to him in the corner and let him shoot it in.
That's a contested 3. McEwen drops in his 4th triple of the first half. He's got 14, and it's a 2-point affair with 1:15 left.
To say that was contested may not be doing it justice. They were hanging on him, and he jumped up and shot it from as deep in the corner as you could get.
Hobbs checked by McEwen. Good defense. And Brito has the rebound. Utah State can tie or take the lead here. Merrill for the lead. Short. His shot's been off in the first half.
Both teams' second leading scorer. Merrill only has 2. Justinian Jessup, we were talking about him on the trip up here. What a great year he was having very quietly. Has not scored a point yet.
Well, he was 0 for 2 in their last game. Didn't get many shots. He's had just 2 shots here in the first half.
He didn't even attempt a 3 against New Mexico.
Sangfelder, time to size it up. And if he has time to size it up, it's generally a hoop.
And I talked about that great footwork the last time he shot one in. Well, he gets set, he gets those hands up, and his behind down. He gets ready to shoot at 10 points now for Sangfelder.
McEwen will hold on for the last look of the first half, or that's the theory here. 32-27, Boise State by 5, and a steal by Lexus Williams. And Williams makes the hoop as time expires. Well, that was the story of the first half.
Wow.
Forced and unforced turnovers by Utah State. Boise State takes advantage, and instead of Utah State narrowing the lead, it's Boise State extending it. At the break, they're up 34-27. Stay tuned for the Dodge Ram halftime report. You are watching Mountain West Basketball on AT&T Sportsnet.